is up, Tube users? I'm the Stereotypical Gamer, and welcome back to another episode of Z to A. Today we are diving into the Stanley Parable. This is a game I have played before. It's one of my fantastically fun games for under $15. It is just an absolute blast of a narrative journey, and it's just kind of a breath of fresh air from all the RTS games, all the first-person shooters and stuff I play, and just have a fun narrative story to dive into. So let's just go through some. Alright, yeah, so let's just go through some
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Yeah, so I want to do one playthrough of just doing everything the narrator says, and then do a playthrough of not following the narrator. We'll see where that takes us. So we'll be the yes man first.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
You got it, Mr. Narrator. We gotta check out the broom
Stanley
closet
stepped
first.
into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
But, I mean, there is a bunch of cool, items around here. You got a wrench.
There was nothing
duct
here.
tape,
No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom
pliers.
closet. No reason to still be here.
You get a large cable or something. You got a nice looking broom.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in
fine
the broom
mop
closet.
bucket.
He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta take in your surroundings, okay? What is that thing up there?
Are you really still in the broom closet?
Yeah.
Standing around doing nothing?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna close the door.
Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
I just like to take in my environments sometimes, okay? That's all it is. And
You
this
do
is a nice
realize there's no
environment.
choice or anything in here, right?
Yeah.
If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever.
Well,
I
it's
never would have thought to
significant
mention it.
my story, so. And this is about me.
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
Forgot about that.
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Wow. Shots fired. Okay. Does
Well,
not
I've
like
come
this
to a
in-
very definite
in here.
conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. He or she has fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place at the computer, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
All right.
Ah, second player, it's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you.
Ooh, you think so? You really think so? Well, I could do this.
You too? Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus? Look, You can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again. Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Ooh, okay.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Or escape. Well, Amy did say we went this way, so yeah, we gotta follow him.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself.
Setup.
Did he have the strength to find out?
Alright,
now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
I don't know where I am. I didn't see where my number was.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time?
Pirate?
Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Oh, man. Crazy.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Seems like it.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do that. Oof. Did cut the power, so...
Blackness and a rising chill of
that's
uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
So, now that we've got the boring ending out of the way, let's go for a fun ending.
All of his co-workers would go.
And we'll go through
Yet
here.
there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to... Oh, no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
There's a lot of things about this room, okay? The 2D textures on the wall that should be 3D, that have shadows on them, the humming sounds, just like nice, and all these like little trinkets that you can like can't do anything with, but you can look at. It's a nice place.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating?
They are.
No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken
going
up.
through the same
How
stuff.
was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd, and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
that didn't work.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Anyways, that's all for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like if you did, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.